It's happened to all of us. You're leveling up your character to make them a big, strong boy, only to realize halfway through the game that you'd rather be a smart wizard so you could use a cool spell, or that you need to be more dexterous so you could use a cool sword. Well, fret not, because respecking an Elden Ring is fairly easy. However, you do need a specific item called a Larval Tear to change up your stats. But where do we find these Larval Tears? Well, I'm Jamie Latour, and I'm going to show you the locations of every Larval Tear that I know of in Elden Ring. Now, if you're a new player and you're unsure how this whole respec business works, there's a few steps you gotta go through to reallocate your stat points. You need to get through the Academy of Raya Lucaria Legacy Dungeon and defeat the main boss, Queen Renala. Once you beat her, you'll gain the Great Rune of the Unborn, which will allow you to respec. Renala will still be alive somehow after your battle, and you can speak with her to respec your character and change your appearance. Every time you respec, you use a Larval Tear. Keep in mind that respecking doesn't completely reset your attributes. It brings them down to whatever they were at the beginning of the game. So whatever the base stats of the class you chose at the beginning were, that's the lowest they're going to go. Now on to the Larval Tears themselves. The very first Larval Tear you can find is located in Limgrave. To get there, you need to warp to the Agil Lake South site of Grace. Once you're there, follow the route that I'm taking right now. As you head up here, you'll find a single undead enemy. Normally, that wouldn't be a problem, but when you smack it with your weapon, this one turns into a giant bear. What fun! You see, since Larval Tears are related to being reborn, many of these tears will be held by enemies that will rebirth themselves into much tougher enemies. So yeah, get used to things turning into other things. It's going to be a common theme. Kill the bear, and you get a Larval Tear. The next tear can be found in Liurnia of the Lakes by traveling to this point on the map. You'll reach one of these gazebo things that's out in the lake and it's surrounded by lobsters. But we're going to avoid these lobsters and go straight to this single lobster walking around on its own. Fight it, and after depleting its health, it'll transform into a grafted scion, which, to be perfectly honest, I think I prefer fighting over a lobster, so this is fine by me. Kill the scion, and you'll get another tear. Now let's pick up some easier tears. The next one can be picked up once you get to the village of the Albinurics. As you ride into the village, you'll see a bunch of crawling Albinurics for your killing pleasure. Take them out, and then on this corpse right here is where you'll get a Larval Tear. Another easy tear can be picked up once you get through Caria Manor. Exit the manor to enter the Three Sisters region, and then head to the left towards Celavis's Rise. Travel along the edge of this cliffside, and near that blue scarab, you'll see a rooftop that you can drop down onto. And then continue to drop down and down and down, and you will see an opening that you can climb down into. Down here, there will be a secret and sad little merchant named Pidia. In their inventory will be a Larval Tear that you can buy for 3,000 runes. The last Larval Tear you can grab in Liurnia is part of one of those painting puzzles where you need to find a specific location shown in a painting. Head to this artist's shack located here. You'll find the aptly named Resurrection painting inside the shack that you can interact with. Now in your inventory, you'll find a record of that painting. Now where could that be? Well, I'll tell you. Warp to the behind Caria Manor site of Grace and follow the path that I'm taking right now. You'll go past some wolves and some skeletons and some Albinurics into a graveyard. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get footage of me actually solving this painting, but at this spot right here is where you'll find a ghostly painter sitting in a chair. Once you go up to him, he'll disappear, leaving behind a Larval Tear and this weird set of clothing that makes you look like one of those creepy children from the Queen Renala boss fight. So, if that's the look you want, here's where you can find it. Enough with all these easy tears. Let's fight more things that turn into other things. In the Altus Plateau, warp to the Rampart Side Path site of Grace, and then head to these ruins, which are located here on the map. Once you're there, you'll find this sad little guy cowering in a corner. Oh, that's not suspicious at all. Beat him up, and he'll turn into a giant lion for you to fight. In Caelid, at this point on the map, not too far from the Church of Dragon Communion, you'll find some undead digging around here. The one kneeling on the ground and wearing a hat will turn into a giant troll holding a flaming sword. Another transforming enemy can be found not too far from the Road of Inequity site of Grace in Mount Gelmir. Head on from that Grace down into this pleasant area filled with upside-down troll corpses, and you'll find a single flaming zombie boy. Guess what happens when you attack it? He'll transform into one of those giant worm face enemies and spit death at you. Well, I hate this. The final one of these transforming enemies is found in the Consecrated Snowfield region, near the inner Consecrated Snowfield site of Grace. Head southeast and you'll find some sad undead enemies, including one guy who's stuck in the snow. Whack the stuck one, and it all comes full circle as it'll turn into another giant bear, just like the one in Limgrave. Oh, the memories. Killing each of these enemies will bestow you with some lovely larval tears. To find the rest of the larval tears, we're going to have to head underground. In the Soafra Riverwell region, head on from the Worshipper Wood site of Grace, and you're going to want to head to these wooden platforms. Fight off these ghostly horn boys and then climb up this ladder, and then just follow me along this way as we head towards a secret little area. Once you get to the end, you're going to find a very well-hidden merchant who will be surprised to see you, as he should be, since this is a very terrible spot to set up shop. In his inventory will be a larval tear on sale for 3,000 runes. The other underground tiers can only be accessed after you beat General Radahn, enter the big hole in Limgrave, and descend down into the eternal city of Nokron. In the initial area of Nokron, not too far from this gazebo where you pick up the Ghost Glovewort Picker's Bell-Bearing 1, you'll find a building with these creepy little dudes inside standing around a larval tier. Then in the gazebo, just before you fight the Mimic Tier boss, you'll find another larval tier. They're just giving these things away down here. When you fight and defeat the Mimic Tier boss, your reward for beating them is 2 larval tears. Thanks, Mimic Tier! As you progress through this area, you should stumble across the Ancestral Wood site of Grace. From here, you could drop down onto these buildings. Continue on, and you should get into the Knight's Sacred Ground area. If you keep going forward, you'll get inside this building, which is where you pick up the Mimic Tier ashes. Below you will be a giant ball that you can fight. As odd as that sounds, kill the ball, get yourself a larval tear. The last batch of larval tears are located even further underground in the city of Noxstella. Don't know why all these places need to have Nock in their name. To get to this point, you'll need to have progressed through Ronnie the Witch's questline. All of the larval tears around here will be on more of these living balls. One ball will be on a bridge, while the other 2 are inside buildings. Before you enter any of the buildings in Noxstella, look up, and if you can lock onto a ball, hit it with something to make it fall. And then you could just whack it from outside the building. Kill all 3 of the balls in this area, and that should give you the last of the larval tears. And with that, you have more larval tears than you could ever ask for. You could use them to get more strength, get more health. Hell, you have so many that you could just give them away to your friends, like Bach. And, oh, yeah, that's right. For more Elden Ring news and guides, check out thegamer.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.